All right, welcome to a new segment we like to call The New Noise, where we give you information on all your DVD releases on every Tuesday of every week if we can. First up, we're going to have Kylie talking about Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Okay, so Perks of Being a Wallflower is based off of the novel by Stephen Chbosky, and the main character, who's Charlie, he's played by Logan Lerman. He's just a really, painfully awkward, shy. Overall, he's just a really introverted guy. He doesn't really have that many friends, but he's a really smart, nice kid. And it's his freshman year, and eventually he meets these two seniors named Sam and Patrick, who's played by Emma Watson and Ezra Miller. And they're your typical weird kids in high school, but they're really cool. And pretty much what it's about is they take Charlie under their wing and they make Charlie's high school experience a little less awful than it would be without them. And I think it's a really good balance of being funny and witty, and also it's a little bit dramatic, and it lives up to the book in my opinion. So if you've read the book and you're scared to watch the movie because you think it won't live up to it, you should just watch the movie because it was also really, really good.
Another movie coming out today is the new James Bond movie Skyfall, rating the second highest out of Daniel Craig's appearances in the Bond movies. This is one you don't want to miss. Our hero James Bond is caught in its inner conflict as he begins to see the fine lines of deceit throughout the MI6 agency. This movie arguably has the best Bond villain since Dr. No. This master of shadows and riddles leaves the audience anxious to the end. With action from start to finish, this movie will keep you enthralled the whole time. Personally, this movie also had one of the best opening music sequences that I've seen in any of the Bond movies, and I think I've seen almost every single one of them. But with the original song by Adele, and then just the cinematography of the opening scene was super awesome, and the plot is, it just thickens over and over, and it's just really, really cool. And I want to see it again, so I'm probably gonna go buy a copy today.
So would you say this is probably one of your more favorite Bond movies?
Definitely. It doesn't really beat any of the movies with Sean Connery except for maybe You Only Live Twice. But out of Daniel Craig's Bond movies, this one's definitely my favorite.
And wasn't this one near wasn't it the highest rated movie since Dr. No, or was that something else?
No, actually Casino Royale did 4% better on Rotten Tomatoes than Skyfall, but nonetheless I liked Skyfall better.
Okay. All right, so next movie coming out today, we have, brace yourselves, Silent Hill Revelations. Okay, this movie looked bad from the beginning. It wasn't even from the beginning. From the commercials, it looked bad.
Arguably the worst movie of 2012. This movie, once again, solidifies the fact that it is very close to impossible to make a video game into a good movie. And just a little fun fact, it got a 4% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is awful.
In fact, just from seeing little clips of the movie, I saw it, and these actors, they're good actors. I've heard of other roles they were doing. I kind of recognized them. They were terrible. Well, they were okay, but the roles they had to play were terrible. They were given such dry dialogue that they were so confused about what was going on. It seemed like they didn't have any clue of their own surroundings if they were in the normal world.
I don't think the director quite knew what was going on either. So
neither do I. And this movie just was a complete train wreck. I saw it when I first saw the commercial. I was like, "Oh, cool! And a new Silent Hill movie." But then all of a sudden, I just read all these reviews on it. This movie's terrible. This movie has the worst director ever. It has terrible It's a terrible screenplay. It has terrible dialogue, dry dialogue with no character development whatsoever.
Yeah, and normally on the radio they tell us not to say bad things about movies because we'll lose part of our audience, but I think so little amount of people saw this movie, and those who actually liked it probably aren't listening right now. So
this is a warning not to buy the DVD. If you do, you will have wasted money. I'm promising you that. Unless you're the most die-hard Silent Hill fan ever, and you have to have every video game and every movie, don't get this movie. All right? Please. All right, and then the last movie coming out today, the last big release, is a movie called The Man with Iron Fists. And it follows a warrior who travels into a town that's kind of stuck between two warring clans, an assassin clan and a warrior clan, and it's kind of his job to try and help the villagers protect themselves from these clans. And pretty much what happens is eventually all-out war breaks, and he's kind of forced to partake in the war, and he harnesses this weapon that he creates on his own to try and protect the people that he's loved and protect all the families and everything he's adopted.
And who's the like main character in that movie? Like, what's the actor?
He's played by Russell Crowe, and I'm
like
I don't know. This movie got terrible. 50% of critics liked it, and then even less of the audience liked it from any reviews I read. And that's a rare occurrence for anything for like Rotten Tomatoes or.
What kind of genre do you think this movie would fall in? Like, for anyone who might be interested in seeing it.
Action, I'm guessing. I just don't know where this one falls. So moving on to your video game releases for today. Today we're gonna have Aliens: Colonial Marines. The game follows a mercenary team who is sent in by Wayland Corporation to clear up any messes that are on LV-426, which is the planet that the original Alien took place on, and they're tasked to go clean up the facility that was pretty much destroyed in the first movie, so that's gonna be a little bit of inconsistency.
Does this fit in with like the rest of like the movie plot, and where would it fit in if it does?
Technically, it does fit in with the rest of the movie plot, although I'm not exactly sure. Some have been saying it's going to take place about 100 years after the first movie, because from what I've seen of like screenshots and gameplay, the whole facility that was destroyed in the first movie is overgrown and overrun with all kind of plant life and everything. But one thing that's going to be pretty cool about it is that it's coming out on PC, PS3, Xbox 360, and Wii U. Now, the Wii U version is the one I want to focus on, because if for anybody who's never seen a Wii U or its controller, the controller is a large tablet with joysticks, buttons, and everything. But the tablet, I feel like, is going to add a little bit of a increased like depth to the game, because in Alien, there's a device that's kind of like a motion tracker. It has a radar, and as it beeps and sends out waves to detect things, you get feedback, and it shows you where certain things are relevant to your position. Now, one thing that a lot of people have been like thinking about for this game is that the controller would act as your motion tracker in the game, and your little motion tracker that sends out waves to detect movement in front of you would be on a tablet in your hand beeping. So imagine that you're sitting in a room completely dark, and the controller in your hand starts beeping, and you have this motion tracker telling you, get out of the room, there are monsters that want to tear your face off, and if you do shoot them, they're going to start bleeding acid all over you. So it's a good idea to turn around and run. So
is this game like going to be like an RPG, or is it a first-person shooter, or what?
I don't know, this game's going to be a first-person shooter. Yeah, thanks for reminding me about that. Completely forgot about that.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, but it just feels that's going to have a lot more depth in it, and as well, Aliens: Colonial Marines is going to have multiplayer in it as well, which has different classes that you can choose from for both Marines and Aliens, from your basic alien class to a giant Xenocharger, which is completely immune to gunfire and destruction, and it can only be destroyed by heavy weaponry.
So what was the name of the game again? I kind of got lost in the middle there.
Alien Colonial Marines.
Okay, and it's based off of a movie or another video game? Or?
It's based off of the Alien series of movies that was originally made by Ridley Scott. If you saw Prometheus, that movie was a prequel to Alien.
No, I've never seen that.
You've never seen Prometheus either.
Shocking.
Okay,
I know.
shocker. Never seen Prometheus, never seen Alien, never
Star
seen
Wars.
Star Wars, James Bond movies.
Oh, it's
anything.
not by choice. I mean, I'd like to, but I just haven't had time. So what's that about then? Is it like it's all connected then to the video game?
It all takes place in the same universe. Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien vs. Predator, all those movies.
So if you've seen them, then it'll make sense to you.
Mainly Alien.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Possibly.
Moving out of video games and into music, there's only one album that's coming out today, and I'm blanking on what the name of it is, but
her name, I think it's a her. I'm hoping it's a her. is Azealia Banks.
Sounds like a woman.
Fancy.
Yeah, fancy name. I like her name, but I have never heard her music ever.
I don't know. No one knows.
I've talked to multiple people. Nobody knows who she was.
But if you like her, then you should go get her album.
I'm sure the population is the same of the people that have seen Silent Hill Revelations.
People who liked it. That was The New Noise, and thank you for living the ugly life. Thank you for living